Yeah, Sean, welcome back to this discussion, this news, rumours. We did it in January, we did it in February. It's like once a month.
We did. Thank you very much for having me back.
No worries,
Thank you for everybody out there who watched the first episode. It was some good feedback.
It was really good. In fact, you helped us. I remember that week going, oh my God, we're counting down, the subscribers going up and up and up, and I was like, oh my God, we're going to do it. Boom.
I was like, don't worry, I got you.
You got us. You got us. So obviously, theme park, what the heck has been going on in February?
Oh, there's a lot going on in February, isn't there? All the Thuzies are flocking down to Nemesis now that ALTON Towers is open for Pirate Takeover. Yes, I was there on opening day.
Was it good?
For a kids event, right? I say this, for a kids event, I think I had more fun than all the kids that actually went. They've stepped it up. So it's only a Mutiny Bay.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Mutiny Bay goes to Battle Galleons. That's included. CBBS Land is kind of doing its own thing out of the way, but the Pirates area, it's all just Mutiny Bay. You get your little treasure map, and you've got to go around to different stalls that have got actors in each stall.
Oh, cool.
And you have to either take part in a game, solve a riddle, or just do some sort of challenge. And as soon as you complete either one of those three things, you get revealed either a letter or a number, depending on what mission you're doing.
Right.
You have to collect. I can't remember how many letters are in the word now that you had to unlock. But
I bet it's pirate or treasure or something like that.
You're on the right track. I think you might have got one.
Yeah, there it is then, mate. Yeah.
It is for kids at the end of the day, but they had two different varying difficulties, so you could do an easy one, which what the kids would do, but then there's a more difficult one for the adults. And one of the adult ones, me and Haley and Chris are looking at each other like, yeah, we don't know how to do this one. So there's a little something for everybody, and we spent a whole day on park just in Mutiny Bay.
I don't think I've ever done that.
No, they've stepped it up. It was immersive. It gets you in there. Sea Life, they had actors in Sea Life, didn't really work too much for me, but the whole kind of Mutiny Bay, they stepped it up. The little cabins, like our cabins at Christmas.
Yes.
Had all the market stalls, so they'd themed all of them with actors in.
Oh, cool.
And that's where the challenges would be. So that was a nice touch.
Please tell me, did they put a pirate in the first room? You know what I'm on about? You know when...
On Sea Life?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
because it's a shipwreck, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did they have a pirate there?
They had a wandering... There was some guy with it was like he had the ghillie net on and like a fishing net, and he was like walking around speaking to people. But the thing is, it didn't work too well because the actors were kind of walking through and following you as you were going through, rather than keeping them in one room. It's like, when you go into the Skeleton Bay bit and it's like 2 floors, and one's built like a ship, into you got the ship and you got like the ray tank underneath. Get one of the actors up there. I am the captain of the ship. Welcome. And they didn't do that. So I think Sea Life was kind of maybe an afterthought. We were walking through, and some actors were still learning about the fish from some of the Sea Life staff. I was like, we shouldn't be seeing this. So it was kind of that was a bit of a mess. But everything else in Mutiny Bay I loved it.
I heard really good feedback from it all, from watching some people's videos. And everyone said it's great for the kids.
Yeah.
They spent a few hours there as well, considering there's not much in that area.
There isn't.
But people were spending they spent a good 4 or 5 hours there. Do you know what? Saying this is really good. The actors were great.
They had a skeleton bar, so there was like a bar that they'd theme. So do you know where the Mutiny Bay courtyard is? And when you go through Mutiny Bay, you come through and where the people meet Santa, that sort of area. They'd turn that into a bar. So it's all like the facade of a bar, and you go in and you're in the dark, and you have to follow these arrows in the dark. And these arrows, you're following them and tracing them around in the dark, and you find a button. And when you press the button, it reveals one of the letters that's on your map. Now, that's effort. Like, to build a little... I know it's just a button, that trick, but to put it into like a themed facade, like, when have ALTON Towers gone the extra mile with anything?
No, that's...
So it's the first indication that they're making this event's on for 15 days, and they've put that much effort into it.
You know when you went, because I'm one of these where I don't really like to... Because my kids are grown up, is it one of these where you need your kids with you? Otherwise you feel a bit weird.
Well, me, Haley and Chris went, and we had a great time. Someone come up to us and were talking to us, and I said, well, 3 30-year-olds have been in here for over 2 hours now, and we're not bored. So there's something there for everybody.
Okay.
I don't think you need kids. You definitely don't need kids. It's just a fun experience, and if that's the kind of benchmark for a lesser event, just imagine what Oktoberfest, Scarefest could be like, maybe even Christmas this year as well.
I felt so sorry for ALTON Towers because it was screaming that something needed to be put on that lawn at the front of the towers, and I said, when that happens, that's it, you're going to get tons and tons of people. And then eventually I think they heard a lot of feedback saying that's where they brought the stage on and all the chairs on and everything, and they made that lawn into this incredible Oktoberfest style, but no one ever went to it. And I felt like, so clearly they've listened, hasn't worked. I say it hasn't. I imagine it to be literally heaving. Maybe is it worth then probably doing it after the park has closed? Maybe just have a full event for that, a bit like Europa Park.
Yeah.
I remember doing that. They closed the park after 6 o'clock at Europa. They closed it, and then Oktoberfest started.
Yeah, similar to what they do with Dramatica, where
Yes.
it's in like a completely different area.
Yes. Maybe that's what they need to look into, whether they can do that, because obviously where it's situated, I know that a lot of people.
I think it's trial and error, because I mean, a lot of the shows last year, everything on the stage was either a singing show or a dancing show. I think there was no variety there. So you're coming around about an hour later, and either someone was singing or somebody was dancing.
Yeah.
And the one at Pirate Takeover, they had the Mutiny Bay stage, so in the courtyard where you got the bar and the seats and the undercover bit, they had a stage, all nicely themed, and they had more of like a panto, and that was something different, because normally that's in the hotels. So it was definitely more of a panto sort of production. Don't get me wrong, like some of the pirates was, when we come, I think earlier in the day, pirates were singing Harry Styles, like, you know, that good old classic pirate melody. That. So I don't get that. You should do stuff like sea shanties and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
That would be decent. But obviously got to keep it relevant for everybody, I suppose. But no, they had like a little panto in it, and that was a nice little thing, because I hadn't seen anything like that actually in Towers for a long time. And like I said, it's just singing or dancing. There's no real proper show, but it felt like a better produced show, like more effort had gone into choreographing everything and making it more of a production. So there's positives.
Hats off to Old Towers. I've always said, listen, I'll be the first to criticise, and I'll be the first to congratulate when things go well, and when they put their efforts into it.
I'd say last year I criticised Alton Towers as much as I did Blackpool, and everyone knows my opinions of Blackpool. That's well documented, and I think Alton Towers was right up there with how much complaint and disgust I had at some of the events. But it's a transitional period, and I knew it was a transitional period, and every review I'd keep that in mind and make sure to remind people of that. Whereas this year I feel as though Bianca's got that control to send it forward in a positive direction.
And good luck to her. Good luck to her. That's what I'm saying. You know, you can't slate someone who's just new to the job and then, you know.
Well, that's the thing. She was on POC so much every time I went, which was a lot of times last year. She was just walking around with a litter picker, because obviously all the members of staff have to have a litter picker to go around Towers. And she was just going around soaking it all in. What can we change? What can we do? Just taking everything in. And like we've already found out, like Runaway Mine Trainers had like a new lore added to the website, so there could be some new additions there in the tunnel.
Really?
Yeah, so they've done like a proper backstory of this mining company. So that's just like popped up out of nowhere. So obviously Runaway Mine Train's going to have a bit of tender loving care. Spinball Wizard was getting a jet wash the other day, and that bloody needs it. But it's just these little things that just seem to be cropping up, and all of the attention is focused from Runaway Mine Train all the way down to Nemesis now with all the new work. So I think that'll be 2024. That's the focus. 2025 they might bring it to other areas as well.
I think Galactica will be the first gender.
It needs to.
In 2025.
Needs to be. Needs to, especially if Project Ocean materialises into what me and you have been discussing regarding what could be next, and the speculation of what that could be going forward.
I mean, you've already made a video about it. Go watch it if you haven't already. But for the viewers that haven't, it's a case of just and I believe that where the car park is down there, they've had planning permissions for ages now to build a coaster on there. So why not implement, obviously, Galactica? I remember people laughing at me when I said this.
Yeah, me included.
Yeah. Laughing at me saying, well, hang about it. No,
I knew that area would be... I knew the car park has got potential to... Because obviously, I look at the car park space. I mean, I only stayed at the Woodland Lodges for the first time. I had my first Alton Towers night stay, Danny. It's a magical experience. The mist was down. It was beautiful.
The Hobbit huts.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I loved it. But there was a car park that I didn't even know existed by the stargazing pods. It was huge. I was really? It's ridiculously massive. So I was thinking, they've got so much space that car park by Galactica would technically be expendable, because it's never entirely full unless there's a big Scarefest event or something. It's an expendable space where they could build something. So if Project Ocean, and this is just mere speculation because it's called Ocean, and the fact that Galactica now will be on its own as guests come through a tunnel, and usually tunnels are utilised in theme parks to segregate different areas, come out into Galactica, and if they dial the years back to the glory days of Alton Towers and turn air, like Galactica, into what air was originally in the concept,
and I think
rocks, waterfalls, ocean, serenity and all that sort of thing, like an oasis. That could be a really cool thing, stretching into the car park with a new ride. And then what's at the end of that? Splash Landing.
Yeah, I must. The minute they put that portal down, we're going to call it a portal.
Yes.
I'm thinking straight away you're splitting Galactica away from Forbidden Valley, which
sure.
I remember stating ages ago. Galactica will have its own area.
We'll have to insert the footage there.
And I literally said Galactica will have its own area. It does not fit Forbidden Valley.
It doesn't.
And some people were saying no, it will stay because it just needs a jet wash or a colour scheme.
But how does that theme now fit in with this brand new? Well,
It doesn't.
say this lore expansion of the Nemesis story. It makes no sense.
Doesn't.
It's like suddenly we're going back out of space. Why are we going back out of space? Nemesis is here. It's taking over. It's killing people, destroying things. Why are we going Galactica? Is that our little escape pod away to another planet? It doesn't make sense. Whereas if it was a different area, and keep it as the same colour scheme, or maybe just tart it up a bit so it actually looks like a coaster that isn't SPNO.
I was about to say, a lot of the park, and to be fair, it is closed. A lot of the areas, it looks like it's under construction. The whole park, there's always scaffolding everywhere, which in my eyes is a good thing.
It's nice to look at Europa Park, man. Do you know, like the entrance where you just walk in? They've dug it up. Like now, it's all dug up. They're completely replacing the paving. All the paving around where that Epcot replica.
Yes,
they're doing all stuff there.
Is that where the beanbag?
Yeah, Europa Park is just a one big scaffolding construction site, but it's good because they're constantly doing stuff. Like look how quickly the turnaround for their log flume was in this mine train that's coming back. They haven't just brought the rides back. They've built a whole new expansion and like this interactive walkway around the themed area. It's like it's the extra mile. So to even see hints of scaffolding just on the Smiler station alone, doesn't matter if that still looks as tired and boring as it's always done. But you just seen that little bit of effort that just has been neglected for a long time. But
hats off with this sparkling project. They're doing really well.
But it's not just Alton Towers.
It's
look at Paulton's with like Splash Lagoon, like that ride. It's like it's a kid's log flume, but Paulton's theming, like Tornado Springs, is probably one of the best themed areas in the country by a long stretch. And you've got just a standard log flume, Splash Lagoon, and everyone's like, it's going to be like submarine splash at Drayton's. But it's Paulton's. They've built like a watchtower. There's figures and jeeps. They've got a whole like Jeep Leaf themed up for this little kid's log flume. And then now new use with the dark ride that should be going into the old Ford. So they got one street in Paulton's is like a bad street for me. You walk through it and there's nothing open. It's desolate. There's nothing there. I'm like, this thing needs something. And the scaffolding everywhere now, and they're getting something.
And I must admit, talking of Paulton's Park, let's just move on with this, mate, because I've always had a bit of a soft spot for Paulton's Park.
It's a beautiful park.
And it is. The gardens are ridiculous. Just the rides are not the biggest and the best, and they're not. That's not what it's for. But I just think it is so underrated. And Storm Chaser, when I ridden that, I was like, this coaster should belong like in fucking Drayton Manor or Alton Towers. This ride is insane. And then, like you said, with the theming, it's probably one of the best theming areas in the UK.
Just steps it. That's when you walk through it, you just think, this is something Disney would do.
100%.
How many places in the UK can you say that?
No,
you know what I mean.
None at all, mate. But yeah, for this dark ride, like you said, and to be fair, I like how Paulton's are working it. They're not every year putting a new ride in. They're kind of like investing. What do people want? What do we need in that park? And I've always said it lacks in dark rides. I think UK itself lacks in dark rides.
It does. Like Curse at Alton Manor, it's the best in the UK, but put that up against any other European dark ride, and even Phantasialand's little dark ride that me and Jake absolutely hated probably wipes the floor with it in terms of longevity and immersion. It's just true. It's just that in the UK we haven't got much to compare it to. But if you're getting a dark ride at Paulton's, they know it's their first dark ride. I mean, heck, look what they added to Tornado Springs. They added Farmyard Flyer. And it's the most simplest little ride you can think of. But the theming, I'm walking through like, I'm fully immersed. Like, this is a ride for little kids. And I'm on it. And it's like, the propeller's moving on the end of the train as you're going around. And you got the audio and you're going around and there's like crash planes around you and stuff. It's just immersive.
What's the gyro swing on that one called? I can't remember what it's called.
Cyclinator.
Is that what Cyclinator.
Yeah, the little cutting device.
And I tell you what, that's one of the most intense things I've ever been on.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be a kid. Is it a 1.2?
I preferred that over Maelstrom. At Drayton Manor. All day, every day. I always feel more like I've been through the mill on Cyclinator. Yeah. It's a good one.
That's a good one.
It's a good plug. And Maelstrom is a bit tame for me, but That's the one that always gets me.
I'm wondering Alton Towers' next flat ride. Well, obviously, apart from this one, everyone is saying, is it Ripsaw or not? I've seen your videos. You're putting all your chips on this, saying it is going to be like a Ripsaw 2.0.
It's wishful thinking with some hints.
Yeah.
The dimensions just add up perfectly. And if the supports because the structure that people walk through is actually sunken down and the steps down to it, if they hadn't have been sunk, then there's no way that a topspin would fit on that structure and still meet the height requirements of those 18 meters. Knowing it's sunk and knowing there's enough room either side to sink the supports of that ride.
That's where you lost me.
That's
because
possible.
The size of it isn't. It's fairly wide. Ripsaw is.
Yeah.
So is this a smaller version of Ripsaw? Because now they've built a shop.
Yeah.
On that as well, so it's even smaller of a footprint.
Yeah. I mean, I know in Huss of. Not sure about this. So don't. I'm trying to think of how to word that.
Just say it, mate. You're going to say.
I'm not sure if Huss are a company now, because obviously they've changed hands, haven't they? Or something happened to them and they had to go in a different direction. And I think they're more of a company now that they are a pay per manufacture company, so it's more custom than what they used to be able to offer. I'm not sure on that. It's just how that website comes across when I'm on it. It seems as though there's more tailor-made options there if needed. But the dimensions for a flawless topspin, I think there's a few little twiggles either side, but it's possible for that to go in there. I don't know what's coming, as I haven't seen any construction documents. Nothing's been leaked, and as Bianca keeps telling me, I'm diving down every rabbit hole possible. But I'm going to get something right eventually.
Have they said there is definitely a flat ride coming to Forbidden Valley?
If you look into the documentation on the planning permission, it specifically says a more permanent edition flat, a permanent edition ride in comparison to Funk and Fly, with that being a temporary travelling funfair ride. This is something more permanent and a flat. And for about 10 minutes, someone told me it was a HB Leisure climbing wall. And for that 10 minutes, I was almost adamant it was going to be, because I know Merlin. I was thinking, this is the company that put hanging bars in there, for Christ's sake.
Well, listen, when I was there, mate, in Forbidden Valley, we had what they called lava something, and it was a climbing wall.
They got the jumping thing as well.
Well, where Subterra was, that they had like an area, and they had a climbing wall. Lava summit. Lava lamp.
But it's crazy, isn't it? Like, because I actually believed it, but then again, people believe that the block on the planning permission, like yourself.
I was like, what am I playing it? It's a fucking roadblock.
But that's the thing that confused me, because I'm like, why would you build that? But it's for secrecy, and it's just to like plan out the width and the height and stuff.
But that there doesn't tell me that as a secret. It's a pointless.
It's more the parameters of what it can go in, I think, just for them to look at and be like, right, we've got this height, let me bloody blah. But with Paulton's, they've got a massive building. That 4D theatre and that whole stretch where that construction fencing is now is massive. So you get Paulton's theming. God forbid we need trackless start rides in this UK like theme park landscape. Cadbury World getting a trackless dark ride. I was more excited about that than any other dark ride news I've seen around the world this year.
What dark ride is it?
It's I can't remember the bloody name now, but it's like it's replacing Cadabra. It'll be a shooting dark ride, and the story follows Fredo, who takes you through, and you have to shoot at ingredients or on your journey. And when you collect all the ingredients at the end of the ride, they give you another chocolate bar. So it's just another excuse to get another bar of chocolate. But it's a shooting dark ride, and that's good. Another trackless dark ride. We've got Harrington Flint's at Fantasy Island,
which is good.
Yeah. What else we got? We got the medieval one at the Legoland Discovery Centre in Manchester, so that's another trackless one. And the incredible one that's only open at Christmas time in Sundown Adventureland, which is a Santa sleigh that you sit on, go through a Christmas wonderland,
right? And
when you stop, you go into a hut and go and meet Santa, and it's ace. I love that, mate. It was ace. All I needed is Will Ferrell in an elf costume sitting next to me, and I was in Wonderland. Honestly, at Sundown Adventureland, it's got some of the best theming, and you only have to go with a child. So my mate Ash went with his daughter. And he said, "Sean, do you want to come?" I was like, I kind of do, because the theming looks sick. And when I went, I was not disappointed. And still to this day, it's one of the best themed. It's up there with Paulton's. It really is. Not too far from here, is it?
What, Paulton's?
No, Sundown.
Oh, Sundance, no. Not all, but Portland's is mileage. It's Southampton, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, I remember going for the opening day of Tornado Springs, and I was on the train for like
it's about
3.5 hours from Stoke, and I was like, I'm excited.
It's so far away. So far away.
But it's Paultons is a park that's got some exciting things coming. I knew about the dark ride. I was told about that late last year, but there's no proof. People tell me stuff. I kind of need proof before I tell other people. Just like I need proof that there's a massive, massive ride coming the other side of Cobra at Paultons Park, because they're already getting that already, and it's going to be their biggest ride. But do I have proof? Do I act so another video is not going to happen?
Do you think? I can't imagine it being a big coaster.
It's going to be a big ride, I'll say that much. Or their biggest.
But you've got to understand that Portland's not for the thrill seekers.
No.
So, I wonder what it could be.
Big family ride.
Yeah.
Big family ride.
Well, this year's crazy at the moment with, obviously, the Legoland coasters and also Drayton's spinning. Can we do that?
The spinning that isn't a spinning, that was denied as spinning, that's still not spinning, where 2 POVs for that ride actually exist. There's one that the manufacturers made, and then there was one that an animation company made, and I've seen both, and it's exciting.
Really?
Yeah, well, people have seen it. Other people have seen it now. So
I haven't seen it. I need to go and see that.
Yes.
This is where we need Jake on.
You got to dig, Jake.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, it's exciting times for Portland's, and yeah, I would love a trackless dark ride. It's meant to be spooky themed, isn't it? As well, they've got like laser guns on the. It's got like a little picture of a ghost on the marketing sheets with like. So it'll be like a little shooting dark ride. It'll be family themed, and the theming of Portland's gets me excited for what that dark ride's going to look like inside. It's got a big space, big footprint. Get it trackless, get it Portland's themed. It'll be quality.
I need to put my family head back on, because I've got kids, and that was the first thing I do is look for family theme parks, theme park family. So obviously when my kids grow up, it's more of it's all about me. What do I enjoy? But then you kind of forget, like, do you know what? Actually, you need to cater for the family.
Yeah.
And I know that I not bashed Alton Towers for this whole new blue thing. What the fuck is cracking off? I don't know.
Big up to Bluey.
Oh my god, we're not even 2024. But I get why they're doing that, 100%, because families won't go to these parks.
Yeah.
So
can't fly a drone over Paultons either.
Are we
building, isn't it?
Are we moving on with that then?
Yeah, no drone flying over Paultons.
Right. I think what's happened here is there's two conversations going off at the same time with this whole why there wasn't Sean. I'm going to say it straight up, right? Flew his drone legally across Forbidden Valley. Now the arguments, what people are saying like, well, spoilers, but my argument with that is, and this is no like sticking up for the A and sticking up for B, it's nothing like that. I fly drones a lot, and if you have that sight of eye, whatever you want to call it, then you can fly a drone pretty much everywhere. Alton Towers do not own the airspace. It's very difficult at Thorpe Park because due to the fact that they have a Heathrow right next to it. So it's
you need permission, don't you, from the tower to be able to
Absolutely. And if you get caught, thousands of pounds coming its way. I can't imagine Sean breaking the law. He doesn't seem to be that kind of guy. I don't know him personally, so I don't know. But he knows the area inside and out, so he probably knows the best way to fly his drone. I just think it just exploded. The thing is, though, this is what got me, is that everyone was looking at this Epic Universal.
From drone shots.
Nobody
batted an eyelid.
Not one single person didn't.
I posted Nemesis testing, its first ever lap, aerial drone shot. Nobody give me any stick for it, because I'm not Mr. Sandbrook.
And this is the argument. You got people who don't like him, and then you got people who don't want to get the spoilers, and it's like mingling into this situation.
Of course it is.
And it's just exploded. Now, also with his video, people said, "Oh yeah, but he had a YouTube, on the thumbnail. You can't see anything on that thumbnail.
No,
it's just a drone shot. I physically can't, unless you click onto it and then watch it for yourself. Then fair dues.
Which is another thing, because you don't have to. If you don't want spoilers, why would you go out of your way to click on spoilers? I agree, there's certain things from both arguments. The people that hated on him and the people that supported him, because there's both arguments from both sides of points that make sense to me. But and it's a big but, the people that are giving him stick for filming and flying that drone over, some are doing it out of a bias because of who he is and being the big target because he's got a big channel. There's that little target there. And then John Burton, when he came out and discussed
that didn't help.
That didn't help. But at the same time, if you do not want spoilers of a construction site where there is like a legal fly zone over the top, there is no ban there, it's perfectly legal, doesn't matter what weight your drone is, as long as your drone adheres to certain rate requirements.
249 grams.
So is it 249?
Yeah, that's one what I've got, yeah.
Let's just say 249, 250. So if that hasn't got a camera on it and it's classed as a toy, you don't need any license. You can fly that anywhere. If it's got a camera and it's still classed as a toy, I think you have to apply for one of the licenses. There's like a flyer ID and an operator ID, isn't there, as well? It has to be registered with the CAA. And then if it's above a certain weight, you need both of those licenses rather than one or the other. I'm not 100% sure which one's which. But at the same time, if you don't want anything spoiled, why are you leaving it out in the open? You fly a drone over the car park. You know what? When a page come out and said, "Oh, the tail's out. It's brand new information." It's been on that car park 3 weeks before you posted it, mate. And it's been on that car park sitting there for 3 weeks just posting it, mate. And it's just one of them situations where if you don't want anything to be spoiled, just cover it. Cover the helicopter with some tarp. Cover the other theming piece that's going where the gun is with a tarp or a little, like the little tents they put up when there's a crime scene. Get one of them up if you don't want anything spoiled. So at the same time, yes, John, I agree. The creative side of things, I wouldn't say spoiling anybody's work because people are on site now looking at the work and appreciate.
I'm sure they've took photos and sent it to their families and friends and all that jazz.
There's stuff behind, like when you go on sites now and taking photos, like, are you spoiling the work now from looking at it from the car park and taking a photo of the tail that's now in place and installed? Someone posted it this morning. Is that spoiling? No, because you can see it with your own eyes. So I think that's where the other argument comes in, because he's physically flown a drone over where you wouldn't be able to see it with your own eyes. So there is that. There's pros and cons for everything. But when it comes to drone, he's not in the wrong. He's perfectly legal to do so. I've spoken to people at Alton Towers Resort who have told me themselves there's nothing they can do.
They can't do anything.
So there is nothing that can be done. He hasn't done anything wrong. He definitely hasn't done anything illegal. One of my friends, Ash, he flew a drone over a pub that was on fire. Perfectly legal to do so. It was a fly zone. As soon as that fire was suspected as arson, he was then questioned for flying over a crime scene. That's when it becomes murky waters. When you're flying it over a theme park in the middle of the countryside, I think you're absolutely fine. If you don't want any spoilers, cover them up. Look how good Curse at Alton Manor was. All the stuff outside was, you'd see little bits of jewel stuff in the skip, and that's about it. Everything else was covered. Who saw Big Emily going through the roof? Was that captured? No, because they did it perfectly at the right time, at the right hours, and out of line of sight. Speaking of line of sight, you can actually see over Forbidden Valley from outside the park. You don't need to physically be on the park to fly a drone over. It's possible you can still see that drone. So anybody who's going over saying it's illegal, this and that.
The problem, what I've got, is when someone says, I want to see documentations. I've seen it on a tweet. And I was like, this guy doesn't have to show you fucking shit. Who are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Who are you for me to say, here is my documentations? I don't care if you believe me or not. And that's the truth. I don't have to show you nothing. I don't. What? So you can sleep at night? So I look great? No. It's
what are you going to do? Send them? I think it's like a digit code, isn't it, for your registration, for your ID?
Yeah,
what are you going to do? Just send them random numbers, and they'll be like, oh, "Okay, proof. I've got proof."
It's just like, you know what? It just sometimes it makes me laugh.
Arguments for the sake of arguments.
Yes,
mate.
I think that's what it is.
Arguments for the sake of arguments. Get that drone shot. Slap a watermark thing over it and you own it.
Oh, mate,
anyways.
we can talk about that all day long, mate. Watermarks and this and that. Jesus Christ. But in all honesty, and I know that there's no beef between Alton Towers and Sean because it was Charlotte's birthday from what I saw in a tweet. And then Alton Towers, whatever, one of the management directors, whatever, said, happy birthday, Charlotte. So I don't think, though, that helped what John put on.
Of course not. But John is a creative person, and obviously if you're putting a lot of work in, You want that opening day to be a big surprise for everybody. So having that stuff online is obviously not great. And it's like me with the helicopter. I said specifically to a certain person at the park who's quite high up, I said, I'll share the helicopter, and that is it. No more from me. No more on the channel. They're like, okay, no more. Done. It's out there. Even use drone footage. No backlash. Surprise. And then,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So
I just maybe if he put and he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to do anything. The thing is, though, this guy does it for a living. It's full time.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to bow down to anyone. He gets a load of money, and you're going to watch it regardless. If anything, that particular tweet has probably gained him more viewers and watch time on that particular video. Yeah. If anything, that's actually helped him out. Yeah. But maybe put in something like spoiler alert on the image, but then
like
your eyes...
Like a little, do you know when like Twitter like hides the image?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. If you want to see this is what Nemesis. Maybe he could have helped himself, but he doesn't have to.
No, Sean has the creative...
He doesn't owe anyone to anyone. He just does what he does.
He's got the creative freedom to create that content. It's just, I wouldn't say morality. I don't think it's a moral dilemma, but it's the choice of, does he want to spoil that for a park that he loves versus, do I post this for money and for views? That's his dilemma. Whereas on this other side is from the creative angle of the people who've made it, saying we kind of want to keep this a secret, to reveal it all on opening day and for the marketing campaign. Understand both sides completely there.
Yeah.
But that's Sean's decision whether or not he does decide to do that. And at the same time, if your creative integrity is that high, then cover your shit up.
People were saying like, oh, Sean's not going to get invited now to these press events. He will be invited.
Of course he'll be invited.
100%.
What other creator is out there is going to benefit them from a marketing angle? That's if they have a press day in the first place, because I definitely haven't heard any mumblings. But
about that,
what's gonna happen? He's always going to be number one on the list, and he always forever will be. But with that number one becomes the biggest target, no matter what. If he even says something just out of line on a video, it'll be the next Twitter feed or X feed.
I just flick through it and I go,
it's the price of Thuzy fame, isn't it?
I just can't be arsed with it, and that's the truth, mate. When I see it, I'm just like, oh, really? And it's bringing up shit, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, guys, been to bed since then. Like, well, come on. Get a life. But yeah, so
always the same 12 people, isn't it?
I know, always. It's like, come on, guys.
Jack, Jill, Ben,
all them guys.
Shout out.
But no, it's interesting though, because I know that it exploded for approximately 3 days, 72 hours, and then everyone forgot about it.
Of course it is, until it's the next thing.
Yeah, until the next thing happens. But like I said, he doesn't have to show anything to anyone, doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. He does what he does.
Hey, he stays away from it. That's what I love. He never addresses it. He'll copy and paste it, and it winds people. He copy and pastes his answers, and it winds people up. And I love that, because it's not bowing down to those people who want to make everybody else as miserable as they are. So he just copy and paste his answer. He said what he needs to say, doesn't need to justify himself. Move on.
This guy goes on holiday, goes to these theme parks for a living.
Yeah, comes back and goes on a cruise.
I mean, people say that there's not jealous, man, but isn't that not the life?
Of course it is.
Is that not just like the perfect life?
If you've been a creator, I don't know, let's just slap a 5-year time frame. Let's say if you've been doing your channel 5-6 years, and you haven't seen the growth that you want to see, and then you see, I don't know, someone sets up their channel 2 months ago, and they're now on more subscribers than you and more views. Are you telling me you're not going to have that little inclination of
better, mate?
A, what am I doing wrong? B, what makes them better than me? You know what I mean? But at the same time, there's a very little number of people out there who actually celebrate other people's work. It all feels like a competition, and I don't like that.
No.
It's like you have to support the people around you. And yes, there are a lot of Muppets in the theme park space, and I try and stay out of it as much as possible. But for the people who deserve it, support them where you can. It's like
I think what people get confused with is an opinion and a fact. It's like when you have your opinions about something, everyone jumps down your throat. It's like when we and Jake, we did Nemesis versus Nemesis Inferno, and people are like, Nemesis all over, Nemesis. Some people were all right with it, some people were joking about it, and some people were fine with it, but some people were quite not nasty with it. But that, how can you say that? It's kind of like, because it's an opinion, it's not a fact. It's not the fact that Nemesis.
When we go down to Thorpe and you're like, well, this is better than Nemi, and I'm like, no, it's not better than Nemi. What do you mean? Why do you think it's better? You tell me your reasons, I tell you why. But it's a discussion. you can, as long as you respect the other person's opinion.
And that's one thing people don't.
No, they don't. It's more like my opinion is more value than yours,
and that's it.
And away you go. Yeah.
And full stop. Yeah. Oh, that's it. Block. Done with it. It's like, okay, that's a bit weird, but we'll go with that. Yeah. But anyway, any other topics, dude?
There's quite a bit going on. We'll stay away from like Voltron and all that good stuff. But
we'll do that for March. Every month, I think month you should come on here and find out what's cracking off.
I've got some news about Real Madrid World, Danny. Oh, there's a lot of news coming out about the world's first football theme park. They haven't posted it. Well, they posted it and then they took it down very quickly. But
it's because it's in Abu Dhabi.
Yes, it's in Dubai.
Dubai, sorry, yeah. And it was originally a park which only had like 4 guests a year. Closed down. I don't understand why though, because it looked like a really good park.
It's well themed, world's tallest star flyer, some great simulators, motion simulators, best flying theatre I've ever done. And when me and Jim went, we were the only 2 people on park all day. And I was like, it's out the way though, Dubai Parks and Resorts.
Is that what it is?
It's like when Sean and Charlotte went not long ago. It was empty the whole time. Motion Gate was empty, Legoland was empty, and when me and Jim went, when Bollywood was open, I think it was like 2 weeks before it closed, we actually went. It's dead. It's just out of the way. You go to Dubai Mall and it's heaving. It's just because Dubai Parks and Resorts is on the outskirts. But the thing with Real Madrid World is they're reskinning Bollywood, so they're not really adding a great deal extra on top of what's already there. I think building a disco coaster and maybe like a rocking tug and extra bits and bobs, but they're kind of reskinning Bollywood Park, which is a surprise because Bollywood is a big appeal over in that part of the world, especially with India so close by, and obviously that was a big draw for people to come, but it just never hit those visitor numbers. It feels like that space is like niche park central because they've gone from Bollywood, which is another niche, to specifically not just football as a whole, Real Madrid World. It's like, I know it's failed a few times. There's been other projects that have wanted a Real Madrid theme park that's failed, but why not just have a football theme park? Why specifically Real Madrid?
Because Real Madrid it's always.
I know they're a big brand, but you know what I mean. It's like instantly, Barcelona fans aren't going to want to go and visit Real Madrid World. So,
yeah, they have literally.
Yeah, it's like me if they built a Stoke City World. Like I'd go to drop litter and trash the toilets, but who was going to want to pay 40 quid or 100 dirhams to go and do that? You know what I mean? So it's one of them where it's a strange one. Why don't they just theme it to football as a whole? But there's a lot of details that have come out. I'm not entirely sure of how much I can say because all that documentation was taken down very quickly. But it seems to me as though the park is kind of focusing on the success of Real Madrid. It's focusing on the history of the club, and it's not just the football club it'll be focusing on, it's the basketball team as well. I didn't even know Real Madrid had a basketball team.
Neither did I.
Apparently they're very successful, and they're focusing on the sort of that winning mentality that the club has. So, for example, I think I can get away with sharing this. There's like a little rocking tug where everyone sits in a football boot and they go around the ride, and then on the next and the star flyer is going to be linked to the players, so you're soaring high with the successes of the players. And I can say this one because it was on LinkedIn, it was posted, the GCI coaster that was the Bombay Express has started testing again now, and that'll be called the Hala Madrid coaster, and the station's built with all like banners, like all the Champions League banners. So I think that's pretty cool, but I'm not sure how that's going to work on a roller coaster. You just kind of the description of the ride was riding the success of Real Madrid Football Club.
I think you can't do anything else. I mean, when I heard of this, and I remember doing a podcast, was it 2 years ago about it? It was in the wind about it all, and I still had my concerns. Then I was like, a football theme park.
It's a strange one, isn't it? It's like the documentation's still out there, so if you want to find it, people have posted it now, so that's why I think I can get away with it more because it's out there in the public already and it hasn't been taken down in a couple of weeks. But there's like a disco coaster, and there's a building and the disco coaster, and one half of it is one team and one half of the ride is the other team. But when you go through the building, there's something interactive in the building where you're competing against the other half of the ride. Right. So that's something different, a disco coaster in a building, similar to the Joker one at Abu Dhabi at Warner Brothers World. Right. But I don't know how that's going to work. When you go through the building, you've got to compete against the other half of the ride. So it makes that disco coaster, which is quite boring to me, more interactive. There's going to be like indoor skills arenas where you can have like basketball competitions, little indoor football arenas. I think there's an academy cafe. There's a shooting ride where you randomly shoot players on a football pitch. I'm not sure how that works. I think someone's taken over the club. Maybe you're shooting at terrible players. Don't know. Real Madrid's had quite a few of them over the years.
What on earth?
But yeah, it's one of them. That's a weird one. Yeah, there's a few little bits and bobs. There's like an academy cafe, which has kind of got all the memorabilia and stuff in. But yeah, it's just a complete reskin of what Bollywood was, and lots of simulator rides as well. But it looks different. It looks cool. I mean, it'll be the world's first football theme park. I can't wrap my head around why it's just Real Madrid World, though. I can't wrap my head around that. It's like, right, how can we guarantee that only Real Madrid fans show up and nobody else? I don't get it.
I genuinely think it's money, hugely about. But then I'm confused because Dubai itself is not the most popular. It's not. It's far from it. But to run something like this, I reckon Madrid was like, you know what? Let's just inject all this money in.
Why not?
And they have got money. Real Madrid have, and I just can't.
That's probably why they didn't do a Barcelona park, because Barcelona can't even afford to keep a roof over their heads at the moment. So a theme park's probably out of the question.
I just can't. I can't imagine this lasting. Is it going to be one of them parks where every 4 years things
gets a reskin?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is like something on like Theme Park World or Planet Coaster or whatever. It's like, right, I need a reskin. I'll just keep all the rides because I can't be bothered to build one from scratch. And just it's like it's like still there's a big palace in Bollywood Park. It was like a big Taj Mahal replica. That's still there. They haven't demolished that. It's a big indoor like events thing, and that's still there. So on all the construction photos for Real Madrid World, they've still got a Taj Mahal. So I don't know if that's
so weird.
I don't know if they're just going to board that off or if they're going to try and.
When's this out? When is this park out?
Someone the actual I don't know if it's
when's it out. When's it out? When's it out?
It's coming to stores very soon.
When's it opening?
The person who's in charge of the project said very soon, but they always say very soon. It's like Harry Potter at Warner Brothers World in Abu Dhabi has been coming soon for the last 3.5 years. It's like, when's that coming?
That's going to be interesting.
That Harry Potter one is going to be the best. I think that's going to wipe the floor with Universal, and that's a big, bold statement to make. But there's a reason they're taking the time with it. They want to make it so much more different than every other Harry Potter-themed Orlando Universal.
But then it won't work. That's what makes it.
They're going to go completely.
Do you reckon is it Fantastic Beasts? Do you reckon that they're going to go down that route?
They've got a Fantastic Beastland coming to. Is it Epic Universe is having some Fantastic?
Some of it's.
I don't know much about that project. You know,
I'm not that far. Well, hopefully in March we can sit down and.
I'll have to read up about it because I know absolutely nothing.
To be fair, I'm kind of staying away from it as much as I can do. Which is difficult really when you're a theme park podcast.
I'm trying to do that with Universal, just UK project. I'm just trying to stay out the way,
mate,
because residents have been given NDAs.
Of that,
yeah, and that's kind of a good sign of it happening. So,
we all know it's going to happen.
Yeah, of course it is.
I really do. It better.
It's going to be.
I swear to God, I'll be so pissed off.
I'm
I'm genuinely excited. I feel like a kid at Christmas again. Like, oh my God.
Do you know when you had Hayley and Chris on the podcast, and Hayley mentioned about houses could be purchased?
Yes.
She wasn't wrong. She was spot on the money.
Really?
Like, that's already happening right now. That is the sign of a project that is, and I think something came out in the news last week, but it was actually on, I think it was ITV or BBC or whatever it was. Is it Jeremy Hunt or one of the politicians? I don't try and get involved with that too much, but they were actually discussing that being a feasible thing for tourism in the country. So everyone's talking about it like it's pretty much a done deal without it being officially confirmed.
True.
As a done deal. It's positive.
Well,
positive.
I remember putting something out on TikTok, one of our shorts, and I didn't even think of this. And I'm always saying like it's gonna damage the UK, it's gonna damage the UK theme parks and this and that. And someone put in the comments, it's not really about the UK theme parks, it's about Europe.
Yeah.
And I literally stood back and I went, oh my God, that would make sense. Like where it is. Like, because obviously you go across the pond, you've got Disney. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like you would do if you was in Florida. You know, you drive to these certain destinations. You got Germany, you got some of the best theme parks in Germany. Yeah. Like 2 or 3 hours down the road. So I'm like, do you know what? Okay. I can see it now, why they use that spot.
Like a hub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's easy to get to for people flying in to London especially. Obviously the UK, you only need to drive, 4 hours? You can get from top to bottom, give or take minus Cornwall. Sorry, people who live in Cornwall. They're kind of out the way down there a little
Bless
bit.
him, bless him. They're down
in
there.
Devon. Because
it's only 3 hours from Belgium. Is it Belgium from...
What, Plopsa to from...
Yeah, from, London.
Oh. You just drive to the tunnel, don't you? And then from the tunnel to Plopsaland, I think it's only like an hour and a bit, well, give or take. I think that's how long it took us to get to Plopsa.
I just can't believe, and I bet the other parks now are going. Not UK, but I think the other parks like Germany or France are like, damn it. Although saying that though, France never wanted Disney. They didn't want Disney. They were like, wow. I remember watching a documentary about that saying, no, they're literally, even the residents and a lot of the French people were saying, well, I don't want a Disney park here. Not a chance, mate. And it was like, but think about the revenue. Think about, the infrastructure
the same with
stuff.
Universal Tourism. Think of the tourism. Like, people who are in Europe now, Germany, Belgium, France, whatever, who cannot pay because it's getting far out this way and paying more money to go to Orlando, or why not visit it in the UK? It's like why we go to Disneyland Paris, because not all of us have got $3 or $4 grand to splash the cash on an Orlando trip or Shanghai or Tokyo. Or
but the big question is, I'm going to say this right, and this is nowhere ever lie, right? Imagine it gets built.
Yep.
It opens next year, right?
Yeah.
Are you now going to spend £5,000 to £6,000 now to go to? I'd say that's really expensive. Say $2 grand.
Yeah.
Now to go to Florida, would you still do it?
For me, yes, because I'm a nerd and I've not been to that space in Florida and I want to check out all those parks. But for the most general public, absolutely not. Yeah. They're not going to justify that spend. Of course they're not. They're going to be like, it's on the doorstep.
Makes sense.
You can hop in a car and drive to it rather than going to an airport, waiting for airport security, or waiting for it. There. Yeah.
I can't wait for it, mate. I'll be the first there, mate. I'm not allowed to. I'll be there first one with a drone. Getting up there. Get some really good shots.
I'm going to take photos.
Yeah, we'll go mad.
Or I'm going to take somebody else's and watermark them with the lifters, because apparently you can own them if you put your own watermark.
Oh dear! Did you just say that? Yeah, mate. Well, that's a whole new story. That is, mate. People just need to fucking grow up, mate, with that, mate.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as me and a few other people had the legal
the statement was
conversation,
fucking ridiculous. So the statement
I
didn't do it.
I can't go into it too much because there's a lot of respect there for the very well written article that was very detailed, informative, and dissected everything that everybody needed to know. It was just how that information was then delivered thereafter, and then calling out another target. Oh, it just so happens to be the same target. Just because that was included, there was no need.
I haven't got time to go through tooth and nail with every single creator. Jesus Christ, man, I've got things to do in life. I ain't got time to go like, oh, this person's putting this out, or that person's saying this. My life is 100 miles an hour. I ain't got time to sit around and flip through Twitter for 2 hours, 3 hours, going, oh, such and such has said this.
Copyright is no joke. As a media site owner,
100%.
Copyright is no joke.
I get that, mate.
And very recently, I was very, very twitchy for a certain, I can't even say the name of a very, very big multi-billion-dollar company that's on the verge of a merger. I'll give you that as a hint. And we're actually on the same side because a photographer claimed an image on my website to be their copyright, and years ago a PR company had actually sent it to me to use to promote an event, and this photographer was like, you got to pay the money or I'm going to sue you for 6 figures Sean hasn't got. And you get it so much as a media site owner, so you've got to do your due diligence and research. So I don't know everything about copyright, but for how many times I've had a twitchy bum over the last 10 years, I sure as hell know a lot more than most now, just to protect myself. Because you don't know what you're like. You have to make sure 100% every time that you post, you have got permission from the owners, studios, whoever that I'm dealing with. I have to have that permission. And yeah, so that was a little twitchy bum thing of a couple of weeks ago, but it's all sorted now. And thank God for that. But yeah, just don't do it. Just don't claim other people's work as your own. Don't slap watermarks that are on someone else's copyright. It's just not big. It's not clever. I know the intention, but even though it was a very strange, justifiable reason as why they did it, it doesn't make any sense to me. Just leave copyrighted stuff over there. That's why it exists. Yeah. Just leave it alone.
I just don't get copyright shit. I don't. Maybe that's just because I'm just too old and. I'm just got that mentality, and I remember doing, I think it was Jewel. I remember saying this. There was a Jewel picture what I took, and then it went all over Twitter. Not once, and I never got credited for it. Not once did I have that bitterness in me to kind of go like, and I know what people are going to say. People will say, yeah, but people have took their time to go there and drive it. You fucking chose to be there. That is the job you did. Take a fucking photo. Right, I'm just...
Someone nicked one of our museum photos the other day. No one batting an eyelid. I messaged the photographer, said, "Oh, it's on this way." "Oh, don't care. It's promotion, isn't it?" I was like, "Well, yeah." So I wish all photographers were like that.
Well, yeah, mate.
Yeah.
There is, and I get it. There is, two sides and all that lot, and I do get it. And some people can get me cheesed off with it, and some people are like myself who just couldn't really give a fucking rat's ass. But we're all different, and I suppose that's what makes us who we are, really.
I'm happy for the museum promotion.
Okay, moving on. How is the museum live? Because obviously it's not just YouTube you do, and it's not just...
I'm an attractions owner now.
You are.
Well, co-owner. They own it. I've just got a percentage of it.
How's it go, mate? I need to get myself done now.
You do. So October we opened, and October was incredible. But of course it's a horror attraction, so we were thinking, will people still come after October? Because when you go on our pages, it's all the actors, and actor days are only once or twice a month. So I'm thinking, right, we do daily guided tours as well. So I'm thinking, will people come for the daily guided tours? But no, they're coming and leaving very, very good reviews. I'm waiting for people to come in and give us negative feedback so we know what to change. But all three of us, Craig and Gemma, they own a haunted museum, paranormal investigators, and have been for many years. And just round the corner is our horror museum. So they're very close by. It's nice and easy to get from one attraction to the other. And they had the idea, brought me on board, and obviously I'm a big movie prop collector, and I've worked on a lot of films. I added up how many films the other day. It was eye-watering. I'm like, I don't even remember half the films that I've done, like marketing work on and producing or whatever. And I've amassed a lot of props over the years, especially with my movie website and all the other stuff I collect. So we just dumped all the props in that museum. And then we've got other people that have sent us props, and we work with studios and things to get bits and bobs in the museum on display in an attraction that you wouldn't expect to see in Stoke. Every single person who's come in said, this needs to be in London.
Yeah.
Because you know me and me theming, right? We haven't got a massive budget, far from. And if I told people how much each room cost, no one would ever believe me anyway. So that stays between us three.
Yeah.
But this was an attraction that was done on a ridiculously small budget. And when people walk in, they're like, oh, it's like this. And they're comparing it to bigger budget attractions. I'm like, that's the response that I wanted. So as long as it looks good, that's the main thing. But on your daily guided tours, you get, I think it's around 90 minutes, give or take, obviously with different groups and you're talking and stuff that could be different. So for up to, I think it's 5 people now, we've changed it. It used to be 6, but it's quite a small building. We want it more tailored. So 5 people for daily guided tours, and you go around themed rooms that'll be full of artifacts, talking points. So you've got a true crime room where you sit down at a table and become investigators. And not only are you go in a museum, you got cabinets, you're looking at everything behind a cabinet. You can handle true crime evidence that has been linked and used by police departments in some of the world's biggest and most notorious, like, serial killer cases. You can read letters that serial killers have written. You can handle crime scene evidence. You can handle stuff that's been used by serial killers, worn by serial killers. We have a piece of Charles Manson in Stoke-on-Trent, which is ridiculous. That's insane. We've got like hair samples, and all with like DNA sample backups, all provenance. We had a gentleman called Nico Klaus. I won't go into too much of his history. It's quite gruesome. He painted a Ouija board for us with his own blood. Just creepy stuff like that. And it's a blend of true crime. We've got movie, TV, and there's a bit of paranormal and exorcism related stuff in there as well. So it's kind of a nice blend of stuff on the daily guided tours. And then for the actor days, each themed room within the building will have actors in there, and you have a normal actor experience where you're dumped into the set of a themed space, and you're watching a scene unfold and before your very eyes, and you're immersed and you're taking part. And then you go down into the basement, which every single person who's done it has said it's the most intense experience in the UK for a horror attraction. And I think that's a good statement. It was a nice compliment. So what we did is we made it even worse, and we stepped up. So have extreme options. So you have your normal actor days, but if you really want to test your mettle, and me and Mr. McCamey Manor, we have our We have our conversations. I've spoken to the man a few times. He's a lovely bloke, but he ain't all there when it comes to horror stuff. So I'm opposed to shaving people's heads and pulling teeth out and all the rest of the rumours. But I wanted a UK experience that people would remember and come out and they'd feel like they'd been in a horror movie, but in a fun, friendly, and like controlled environment. So that's why we did the extreme stuff. And some of the photos that have come out from that event, people have been through the ringer, mate. I've been like, I've done all the extreme stuff in the UK. We did Enola at Walsall Scare Maze, and it's not a horror experience. It's more, how much can we make you feel uncomfortable, and let's just shave a bit of your hair off. It's more of a mind fuck than a horror experience. Then we did the container. The container in Sheffield was really good. It was like a shipping container that you sit in, and you go through what victims of real life serial killers went through. Right. And they kind of recreate certain things they went for. So that was a bit more intense. But I wanted to kind of step it up and stretch it across the building. So the extreme ones are for the brave. So get yourself down, Danny.
I need to get myself down.
Bring a change of clothes. Anyone who's coming, you need a change of clothes.
Is that because I'm shitting myself, or is it just a case of
whether you shit yourself or not is completely your prerogative, my friend, because when you come out of that museum, you are not clean. Maybe mentally and physically.
Oh, my God. You're making me nervous now. But usually I'm quiet.
The team behind it, Central Legion, the actors, their costumes, mate, they cost hundreds of pounds. We're not talking about cheap,
B&M, getting a fancy
Nothing. These are expensive, custom made. So already you're in an experience where someone's made the effort, and these lads come in, and girls, with fully dressed to the nines, ready to put on a show. And it's great because each room is tailored to a different fear. So 1 minute you'll be in your true crime room where you'll actually be face to face with a killer. And then the next minute you're kind of witnessing an exorcism. There's loads of little things tailored to what the room's themed around. And it's a fully immersive experience. And everyone so far has really enjoyed it, and that's great. Just need to step it up. Yeah. It's like, what can we do next? Because I'm the test dummy. So every time they do their new extreme version, I'm the one who's like, I volunteer as tribute because I want to see just how extreme it is. I know my limits. I'll never say that safe word. We do have a safe word, and people have used it many, many times. But I know that I'd never say it. So they keep pushing me and doing more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. And I'm like, well, I'll be okay. But I know that a great deal of the general public probably won't be, because they've come into the attraction thinking it's going to be like Scarefest. And it's not like Scarefest.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I'm really intrigued of coming down. I think it'd be awesome.
There's not many places in the country, horror-wise, where you can push your boundaries. People go into a horror experience, and there's that element of safety. And we push past that limit to the point where it's still controlled. But if you say that safe word, you will be removed safely and securely. But if you want to push your boundaries,
I'm so intrigued.
It's something different, and because with that stuff, the actors they plan all that. I come in and I do my little creative thing, like, and Craig and Gemma do the same for this over this, whatever. But there isn't many attractions that will push your boundaries, and not many attractions where you feel like
you're making me nervous now. You're making me nervous.
It's fully, if you come out of it, that's the thing. You don't come out of it scared, shaking. One woman screamed around out of the building, but I think she was just overacting, to be fair. But, you do get some of them. One bloke come out, oh, mate, he was brilliant. He came out and he ended up in the store, which is like the first bit you come in. And he was tripping out. He was like, oh my God, are they coming to get me? Are they still down there? He was proper
really?
He goes, I need cool down. And then he goes and buys 3 bottles of hot sauce. I was like, where's the I was like, thanks for your custom, but it doesn't really cool you down. So I don't know where he's coming from with that, but it's great seeing the reactions. I know, like when Haley and Chris came down and they did the tame actor version, and I say tame because that's an attraction that for the most part of the experience, it's what you'd expect, but a little bit more. So other attractions have kind of done similar, and then there's the bit right at the end that nobody's done in this country. And then the extreme just kind of plays on that and amplifies it throughout the attraction. But there was one where I wouldn't say tapped out, but there was one situation that I was going to be in where I needed to readjust myself to make it more comfortable, because I was like, if I stay in this position for too long, I felt a little bit uncomfortable. So I just had to readjust myself. But no, I'm never saying that safe word. And they keep trying to say, oh, we're going to make you tap out. No. I love it. Well, I love it.
Obviously, tell people where it is.
Yeah, so Museum of Horrors, Fenton, Stoke-on-Trent, and as of yesterday, got a brand new website, museumofhorrors.co.uk.
We'll put it in the description.
And at the same time, we should have the booking system live within a few days. This is all new to me.
Nice.
Getting a booking system and turning it into a proper attraction where people can see the face, a proper website, a proper booking system. So I'm sure we'll have a few teething issues with the booking system. We're all doing it for the first time.
You know what Towers do.
Exactly. So if a company like that, I'm sure, as long as it doesn't take everybody's money and then we're just kind of like, well, we haven't received it. Where's that money?
Yeah.
I don't want that situation. So hopefully the system is okay when that goes live. But yeah, that the booking system will be live in a couple of days. But the website's up now, and yeah, it looks good.
I can't wait. Like I said to you before, off camera, like I need to get down there. I think there's a few OTT lads who want to go down. So if you're happy with it, we'll come down and
What would you do? Would you do the daily guided tours, £12.50 per person? Would you do the actor day?
What would be the actor day? Because
or the extreme actor day?
I do the extreme. I know that Lee's not a big fan. Rob is. Me and Rob is. Well, Rob would just be looking at your props. You know what he's like.
You won't see him on the actor. That's the great thing about it. Everyone who's come out the actor day, they've walked past items, they've seen items, but because the actors are guiding them in certain ways, they've come out and be like, so where are all the items in the museum? They haven't seen a thing.
That's mad.
We do close one of the showrooms off. That's only open for daily guided tours. So that's the one that's got all the props.
I'm intrigued now.
But people have been walking past pieces of history and they haven't even realised it because the actors are too busy distracting. So I love that. It gives them a reason to come back.
Yeah.
And vice versa. When people go around and do the normal tour, they're like, oh, what would this place be like with actors
and that's
in
that
it?
whole...
How are they going to... Yeah, so that's what we wanted.
Smart,
clever. So we get it both ways.
Clever.
Yeah.
But yeah, mate, hopefully this year, I'll be there, mate, for sure, mate. And, but yeah, all done. All wrapped up.
All done.
All done.
Another one.
Guys, let us know in the comments below. Did you like this kind of, every month me and Sean sit down and talk about what's cracked off in that month? And I think March is going to be very, very busy.
Yeah, it's going to be a bumper episode, that one, isn't it? It's too much is kicking off in March.
I'm looking forward to March.
Especially for certain Europa Park. If their delivery schedules line up, we'll be back over there.
Is it March it opens?
Not yet. I haven't been confirmed, but it does rely on.
I think it's March.
Schedules.
But yeah, because we need to talk about that, mate. Oh my god, we could be here for hours.
It's going to be the best coaster in Europe.
Oh, 100%. It looks incredible. It looks incredible. Guys, don't forget to follow us on our social medias on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. And if you're new to this channel, make sure you do subscribe and hit this bell icon. Every time we upload a new video, you will be notified. Sean, thank you once again. And as always,
happy riding.
That's the one, brother. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.